I want to talk about the sanctions, and then I want to get to some of how the media, where the money flows, and how the media positions some of these stories. But you mentioned sort of the crumbling of this narrative that's appearing on a lot of the mainstream media now, and you can see it in Reuters today and other news publications, which you know are absolutely in lockstep with the Ukrainian narrative. We have EU sanctions. German economic minister yesterday said that the support by the EU on sanctions against Russia are starting to crumble in the EU. Food prices are soaring across the world. So have sanctions against Russia actually worked? And I guess I already know the answer, maybe, but it appears that maybe this is where that fracturing is coming from.
Yeah, no, it's always follow the money or follow the lack of. What I find remarkable and incomprehensible is that the people who dreamt up the idea that, boy, we're going to sanction Russia to the Stone Age had no idea or understanding of the economic realities that undergird Russia's economy. Russia is one of the few countries in the world that's self-sufficient. If they closed off, their people would eat. They would still be able to build advanced machinery. They'd be able to build rocket engines. You can't say that. Germany doesn't build rocket engines. Spain doesn't build rocket engines. So, but they shut it down. But the other thing that beyond this, when I step back and look at it from an analyst point of view, can we cite one example in history and in the last 70 years where imposing economic sanctions on a country have produced regime change, political change that have helped the United States achieve its interests? The answer to that is not a single case. Didn't work in Cuba, didn't work in Venezuela, didn't work in Iran, didn't work in North Korea, didn't work in Iran. So why in God's name do we keep going back to the well and pull this out as, oh boy, we're going to really hurt them now? Because the pain that is being caused is real. We're talking about global food shortages and starvation, famine in countries that previously had enough to eat. Why is that? Because nobody took time to assess the importance of Russia and the Ukraine in terms of wheat exports to the world. Nobody took time to examine the importance of Russia and Belarus in terms of fertilizer exports. I know from friends in Iowa that the farmers there, they're paying 4 to 5 times what they were last year for fertilizer. They're paying double to triple for diesel fuel. Well, those costs get factored into the food, and it does a couple of things. One, it means they may not be able to plant as much as they have, which means reduced output. Two, it means whatever you produce, it's going to be far more expensive, which means that if you're buying bread, you're going to pay 2 to 3 times what you are paying now. So this is a structural source of inflation. But it's not just the food and the fertilizer, other essential minerals, earth minerals that are critical for production of, whether it's components for automobiles, the microprocessors, etc. A lot of that comes out of Russia too. That's cut off. So the West has done such enormous damage to itself. And then there's the oil and gas, which you've got BMW and the heads of German automobile companies saying that they could be done producing automobiles in 3 months. I mean, think about that Volkswagen, wow, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, kaputt, and to speak it in German. So the ramifications of this is sort of like an asteroid hitting the Earth and the ripple effect that goes around the globe, killing and creating secondary damage. This is a metaphorical asteroid that's hit the world economy. So it's not just Russia's the one who's actually largely unscathed out of this. It is the West, Europe in particular, the United States, Latin America, South America, that are going to suffer the ramifications of this.